Hello, listeners. Jordan here. I just want to let you know that you can listen to Nighttime early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Include it with Prime.
You are listening to the Nighttime Podcast.
Hello, listeners. I want to take you along with me as I revisit a guest and a topic that we discussed here a few months back. Do you remember Kristin MacDonald, the teacher's assistant who found herself in hot water as a result of her alter ego, Ava James? And remember how Kristin's employer gave her the ultimatum, lose your Onlyfans or lose your job? Well, that story just had a not at all surprising development. And no, it's not that she left Onlyfans.
Intimate images posted online, sparking a public discussion. The images ended up costing 35-year-old Kristin MacDonald her day job as a teaching assistant in the Coquitlam School District.
I have a concern.
The district sending her a termination letter June 16.
I did expect it. There was still a part of me that was hopeful.
So yeah, the school board was not bluffing. But there's a whole lot to unpack in this story. So I invited the now full-time adult content creator to get us caught up. In this episode, we'll again hear from Kristin MacDonald, the woman who lost her job as a result of the things her alter ego, Ava James, does on OnlyFans. So let's get into it. I think when we spoke last time, I introduced you as Kristin, but given the changes in your life, I guess I can just call you Ava James now. Like, this is probably going to be a full-time thing.
It certainly has turned into that, yes.
Yeah, you used to have the two battling identities. One existed during the day as a teacher's assistant. During the night, you were Ava James. Thanks to the decision of the school board and the letter you received, I guess, yeah, Ava James is going to dominate a bit more of your time. When we spoke last, you were at the point where you had received that ultimatum/threat to take down your social media content and stop Ava James from existing or lose your job. You said yourself, Ava James is not going anywhere. So why don't you fill us in with everything that has happened since we talked a few months back?
Yeah. I got a letter on June 16th that said I was terminated, and that my off-duty conduct was egregious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they made a lot of points in that letter, one of which they certainly had an issue with the schoolgirl outfit, and all the content of me wearing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was absurd to me, the kind of the lines they drew, kind of saying, that was me relating my OnlyFans work to my school board job was the outfit itself, right? So I was terminated on June 16th. I was with my daughter on a vacation, so I kind of took the time to grieve the loss of an 8-year career, kind of think about the steps that I wanted to take moving forward.
Yeah. When you received this letter, I'm sure you kind of suspected it was coming. Was it a surprise when you actually see?
Yeah, I did definitely suspect it was coming, and I was told by the union that most likely that's what the decision would be. And as much as I expected it, it's still like when when it actually happens, there is still a process of kind of wrapping your head around it, right?
Yeah. Ooh, like this is happening. This just like your life just changed, to like it or not, agree with it or not, things changed.
Yes.
And in the letter, by the time you get the letter, you would have already had a chance, I guess, to dispute it or argue it. And they gave you that ultimatum, take your stuff down or lose your job. By the time the letter is sent and you get it, it's a done deal, right? Like you're no longer employed by them. Like it's over.
I am no longer employed by them. But my union and I are grieving the decision.
Okay.
So, luckily I am a unionized worker, so we can grieve the decision. And not even, yeah. So we're grieving the decision. I've also acquired a local employment lawyer. So we're going to be going down the route of like the Human Rights Tribunal. Um, so that, my biggest thing is to affect change and to let this be a precedent setting case where we see that, you can be a sex worker and work with children. That's not a danger. Like, we're not putting children in danger. And it's just absurd to me, the mentality of the school board.
Hmm.
And, like, there was a 3-day investigation meeting, and it was very clear from the beginning that they had already determined, what was going to happen to me, basically. And I truly felt at times that I was being told that, like, you can't be attractive and work with children. They read like over 40 comments from coworkers on the first day of the meeting where like they read like, oh, based on her appearance, she shouldn't be working with children, just absurd stuff. And it, yeah, it felt very harsh, and I definitely felt like I was being discriminated against.
Discriminated against for your appearance and having the type of figure that you do.
Well, I wonder if I was, a heavier set woman, or maybe I was trans, or, I wonder if the narrative would have been the same.
That's a good question. I want to get to the actual letter you received because, again, the letter that you received on June 16th was terminating you from your position, but it also was given their reasoning for the termination. My understanding is that they gave like 6 points as to why they're firing you. One of them was, you've mentioned this earlier, is one of them was specifically was because they claimed you were sexualizing the school environment. I think
And
was
that had to do with the schoolgirl outfit.
yeah, that's kind of what I figured because when I first learned of your story and I started going through it, I noticed one picture in particular, the sexy schoolgirl outfit in You're Biting an Apple. And I remember seeing that picture being like, oh, like that may come back to haunt her. Because if I was working for the school board and I wanted to get you out, I would find that one picture and be like, see, but I talked to my co-host on my Keep Canada Weird series about it, and his opinion, and I agree with it. It's almost like if you are making the kind of content that you're making online, it'd almost be weird to not use the schoolgirl outfit at least once. It's such a cliche.
It is such a cliche, and that's it. Like, it's like it goes along with the nurse and the Playboy bunny and
Yeah, and the bikini even. Like it's that much of a cliche that the sexy schoolgirl, it would be weird if he didn't do that once. But it'd be like I think what the idea of sexualizing the classroom, it would be maybe like a different story if you took that picture in your classroom or something.
100%.
But to do it at home and put it up online behind a paywall or whatever, it's just not as directly connected to your job as maybe someone who's naive would want to think or
I
would think it
agree.
is, or maybe someone who's trying to, target you more would think it is. Other than their point of claiming that you were sexualizing the classroom environment, what other points do they have on their reasoning for terminating you?
Just like my online conduct being egregious.
In which way, though, I wonder? Like, because when you say your online
Well, they subscribe to my OnlyFans,
okay, so and
and
that's
they
hilarious.
they actually gave me proof that they did.
So because in order to find the evidence of this egregious or whatever stuff you're doing, you're behind a paywall that's subscription only. You need to be an adult with a credit card to see what Ava James is doing on OnlyFans. So during their investigation, they actually had to probably pay to see pictures of you scantily clad.
They use taxpayers' money
Oh.
to subscribe to my OnlyFans. And then they actually screenshotted stuff from OnlyFans, which goes against the policy of OnlyFans. And they put
Oh.
it in an email to myself, my union, HR people. Like,
Yeah. Oh. That's wild. So what did they find in your OnlyFans that they were especially interested in? Like, what stuff was it in there that they're like, oh, see?
Um,
Was there any
well,
particular post?
it was interesting because they weren't really after like, well, no, they did. There were a couple posts. Yeah, I mean they were after everything. They're like,
Mhm.
oh, your boobs are out, and oh, they they actually asked me about a specific video, and I had to say like, oh yeah, no, that's me with a purple dildo, getting myself off.
Okay.
I did have that talk.
Oh my
And my
God.
union's like, just be honest. And I'm like, okay, you sure?
Why wasn't this meeting live streamed? Because this is what people want to see is that meeting.
Yeah.
You're not a shy person. Was it awkward for you to have that talk?
What's funny is when these questions came about, they had actually decided, they asked if we could do the rest over email. And so that's when they asked me the real gnarly
Oh,
questions.
they're the cowards. They couldn't handle it.
Yeah. And they asked me specifically, like, what do you do on OnlyFans? Like, what are some things you do? And it was like, yeah, and I mean, I was honest. And here we are.
It's the whole thing is unimaginable. So you allegedly sexualized the classroom environment. Your online content was over the
Egregious.
line.
Yeah.
What else? What other reasons did they have for losing you?
Oh, like of course
Oh, they
the
sorry to interrupt you.
confidentiality.
Yeah, that was what I was going to get to. They had a problem with you actually going to the media. It
Yeah,
seems like they believed you should have just kept your mouth shut and talked it out with them and went quietly.
yeah, that's correct.
But there was some kind of, and I think it was a bit more nuanced, where there was some kind of like code of conduct, consciality, non-disclosure kind of thing within your contract with
Yeah,
them.
yeah. I mean, that's really kind of, well, I mean, the non-disclosure and confidential, and it's not a non-disclosure. I believe it's just confidentiality with the employer.
Mhm.
And I mean, I put them on blast because it was just so absurd, and I felt like I was being so wronged,
Mhm.
with multiple parts of what has happened here.
Mhm.
And it's interesting. So after the first investigation meeting that we had, my union sent the employer a letter basically being like, well, we won't tolerate that kind of meeting again because it was so discriminatory. Like they were like, even my union people were like, whoa, that's really out to lunch. And it was just like really terrible stuff that they were saying. So, and it had no bearing. Like it was all opinion based, not factual, very stereotype, stigma type comments, and it was just like so absurd that they were bringing these forward.
Mhm. Well, it's done now, and you're on the other side of it. You're no longer employed as a teacher's assistant, and I guess we could say now you're a full-time adult content creator. Uh, when the news came that you lost your job, this whole story has just been popping up in the media again. It seems like every Canadian news outlet has done something to inform the public about the decision the school board made, but it stretched even further than Canadian borders. I think Fox News did a piece on you.
Yeah, which
Well,
is crazy. I
yeah,
was like,
absolutely.
wow.
When you
Uh,
went public, did you expect it? Like you knew, I'm sure you knew people were going to be interested in your story, but did you think it would get this far?
no, God, no. I had no idea. I
Uh,
had no idea.
did you hear, like, I know the Fox News story, I'm sure had massive reach. Did you hear from them specifically?
I mean, they had emailed me just asking for permission to use photos, and they asked me a few questions. It was hilarious. One of their questions was, "Why are you so like minimally paid?" I'm like, "It's a really good question,
Yeah. Well,
but I
that's
don't have the answer for you."
no, certainly not. Yeah, that's what has the reaction been like for people who know you, know the story, either know you as like yourself, Kristen, or know you as your personality, Ava James. Have people been supportive? What are you hearing from people about this?
I mean, I would say like the people that know me, Kristin MacDonald, have been extremely supportive. I'm lucky to have a really close family, and I've been honest throughout this journey, and they've been incredibly supportive. And I mean, the reality is, anybody that knows me as Kristin MacDonald and kind of like, underneath the blonde hair and big boobs is like, I'm confident in the fact, like, I'm a good person. It's not like, people are like, oh, she's a broken individual looking for validation elsewhere.
Aren't we all?
Well, and that's it too. Like, that is the human condition,
Yeah.
you know? But I mean, I guess my point being that, it has been mainly positive. For sure, there are people that disagree with my decisions. But I think that I'm lucky to have kind of gone through a portion of my journey, like most recently, where I did a lot of kind of work on myself. So I feel like I'm at least able to handle the darker criticisms, and stay positive through this.
There's no way to avoid the darker criticism. If you put yourself out there, you're going to get it. And then if you put yourself 100%. Out there the way you did, you're on Fox News and all across Canada, and pictures of you in bikinis are on the news. Oh man, you must be, I'm sure you're getting some wild stuff, but you're taking it all in stride. Your face is out there all over the place. If you Google OnlyFans, I'm guessing your picture is going to come up there. Do you get recognized? Like, have you been at a grocery store and you're like, oh, you're that teacher / OnlyFans?
It's funny. Actually, I was at the pet store the other day. I was buying cat food. And the guy's like, have you been on the news? And I was like, yep. And then after that, it was like everybody in the whole store was like, oh my God, you. Good for you. And yeah, I mean, and it goes to show you, like, I certainly think that the majority of the comments and stuff are supportive.
Awesome. I'm sure that the news coverage has been in a lot of ways could have served as an advertisement for your OnlyFans account, because it's, the name Ava James, she's on OnlyFans. Yes. The headline or the photo used in an article again is you in a bikini or something. How has this affected your OnlyFans account? Because one of the reasons I asked this is because you were using it as a way to support your income. You lost your job, which a lot of people would be like, ooh, she's going to be broke now. But the fact that you lost your job in this context has served as the type of advertisement that OnlyFans content creators could only dream of. Like, how has this affected your ability to look after yourself financially on OnlyFans?
Yeah, I mean, there's no denying that it's been advertisement. I'll be able to pay my bills.
Yeah, okay. But to be clear, this wasn't done to be like this creative advertisement for your OnlyFans account. This is just like kind of the convenience.
This is me feeling very strongly about my right to be a sex worker and to work with children. And just even, the misogyny that still exists in our society, where, one of the biggest, the comments that kind of threw me the most during the investigation with the district was, I said, okay, so you're going to fire me for having a content creator account. And maybe we talked about this during the last podcast, I'm not sure. I said, you're going to fire me for having a content creator account. Are you also going to fire my male colleagues for having a subscriber account? Right? Mm-hmm. And the response was, well, don't you think it's different watching the videos versus making them? And I understand, I get it, but we so often shame the woman. And, I think it really gets you into a conversation of, let's let's get rid of the shame around sex, because everybody does it. That's what we were like, we're all sexual beings. Essentially, our role on this planet is to reproduce. And I mean, sex has become, well, I mean, it is in a lot of ways a hobby. I think we do most of it do it not to reproduce, right?
Yeah.
But there's so much shame around it for women, but yet men, it's like, oh, it's okay, he's a man, he does that. But it's like, well, no, women are sexual beings too, and it shouldn't be shamed, or made us into the villain, or I'm evil because I'm a sexual person. There's just so much unfairness that still exists there, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Porn, what, it takes up 40% of all internet. Like, people look at porn more than they look at how to do their taxes. Like,
Absolutely.
like,
I think porn's a lot easier to market than tax help, but
yeah.
but I think they look at it more than they look at just about anything online. Um, when we speaking of what people look at, when we talked last time, we didn't get too deep into what exactly you're doing on OnlyFans, and what the life of an OnlyFans content creator is like. I'm dying to hear more about it, because it's something that it's almost synonymous with online activity now. So many people have OnlyFans. It's not this
Yeah.
rare and taboo thing like it would have
Yeah.
been even 10 years ago or something. So
Totally.
we talked about how you got into it last time, but I'd like to hear more about how you market it, how you connect with people, and what kind of requests you get, because like what's different I think about modern day OnlyFans pornography, I'll use air quotes
Mm-hmm.
there because I don't know if that's the right word, versus what would have happened back in 80s, 90s, 2000s.
Yeah.
It's kind of, now you have this direct line between the buyer and the creator where they can request things and
Absolutely.
interact with you. So tell me a bit about running an OnlyFans account and how you interact with people.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. OnlyFans has really been the evolution of sex work, where it puts the female in charge. We're no longer being exploited by, the rich man that's taking all the money, telling us what to do. We're creating our own boundaries. We're doing only the things that we want to do, and we're profiting from it, right? Um, and I think the biggest difference between, OnlyFans and Pornhub is OnlyFans is like, it's an opportunity for the buyer to also connect with the creator. So you do have this, this emotional connection of sort. It's not just, watching a video that you found on the internet.
Mm.
And I mean, it goes to show you that connection is a really big piece to sexuality. I think people have this idea that OnlyFans creators are like these, I don't know, like these unwell people that live a very extravagant life and blah blah blah. But like, I'm just like everybody else,
Mhm.
go to the grocery store, put my kid to bed at night.
But
You
when
know,
you open your laptop or iPad or whatever it is, you'll see your OnlyFans account, you'll see your new subscribers, maybe comments they made on posts that you've published. But you can also get direct messages where they're writing
yes,
to you and asking you questions, or maybe
yes.
ordering like custom content. I'm assuming you get into that sort of thing.
Yes, 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 yes.
So someone can write you on your, so they would have to pay to get access to your OnlyFans, but then
Yes.
to see your stuff, to see what you've published, but then they can offer more money for custom content, meaning you would make a video specifically for them. And I'm
Yes.
assuming that's where, like, when you say that you do well financially, or can take care of yourself, I'm
Mhm.
sure a lot of it comes from that kind of custom content. But of course you
Yeah,
have the ability to choose what you do and how you do it. But
absolutely.
but
And
what
with whom?
and with, yeah, exactly. But what kind of requests do you get? Like, how often do you get these requests for custom content? And what is
Yeah.
it?
You know what? There I would say there's like, you know, depend on the week, but like 3 to 4. requests a week that are custom. I do like through DMs. I sell a lot of more spicier content.
Okay.
So like my main page is pretty PG-13.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so your main page is behind a paywall, so it's private. The public can't just jump in it. But then
Correct.
even they get that, then they can order, the stuff that you
Yeah.
keep in the back
But I
room.
mean, you're gonna have to pay a premium. You're not getting that for $6.99. You know what I mean?
But they can even take a step further, would be like, yeah, you got this premium stuff, but I really enjoy
Yes.
this, and let's make that happen. Tell me about
Yeah.
those people.
It's so bizarre because that's been like that when I first started, I was like, whoa, I guess this is a thing, you know?
How often do
What
you say, I guess this is a thing?
you know what? Not I would say it happens like once a month.
Okay.
But like I'm sure maybe to other people like other OnlyFans creators it happens more. But like I when I first started, I realized like how common the small dick humiliation is. Have you heard of this?
Uh, no, I can't relate
I
at
want to
all.
give you an example, but I want to keep this PG. So I I mean, basically it's men who I guess they get off from me telling them how small their penis is.
Really? So they would they sh
Yeah,
like
and the funny thing is like they don't even like I don't even necessarily show like skin. They just like want a video of me like putting them down for having a small, extremely small peepee,
really? So they
like
would
the
send
size of
you, it's almost
yeah,
like a sexualized version of like roast me. They send you a picture and be like, make a
yeah,
video telling me how awful this is.
yeah, and like so like some vocabulary I use in a video like that would be like obviously small and like shrimp like you know like I don't know if I could say this, but like there's clitorises that are larger than your penis, stuff like that. Like, um,
I'm shocked that that's a thing, but again, in this world, when you have everyone connected on the internet, there's nothing that will surprise me
yeah,
anymore.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that surprises me.
And I mean, I don't kink shame. It's like whatever.
Oh yeah.
You're not hurting anybody, right?
But that's kind of the beauty of OnlyFans is it's all
Yeah,
consensual, and it's like, yeah, you could have a
it's very
kink where
consensual, and that's one thing about OnlyFans, right? They are very consensual, and everything is. Um, there's a contract if you have any other people in your content, and they do identity checks on those people. So it's very safeguarded in that
yeah, well, it's a
way.
big adult playground where any kinks
Yeah,
are welcome, and if someone approaches you and they pitch something to you that you're not comfortable with, it's completely safe, and you're like, no, that's not my jam,
yeah.
and I'm sure there's someone else on there who is into that. Other
Oh,
than the
totally.
other than the small penis genre, what are some
Mhm.
other odd requests that people are into? I'm dying to hear about this stuff.
Okay, I would say the strangest request I had. And I will say that I didn't even do it. It's just it's not my thing. And I just so one gentleman wanted a fart show,
Oh,
and I was like, I had to clarify, like, what do you mean? And basically, he wanted the sound and to basically watch my when I tooted. My response was, I'm so sorry, I don't have gas. Like, I can't do this for you.
wow. But
Yeah.
it's again, if that's what you're into,
Hey,
fine.
what
And
else?
where else will you find that kind of content
Yeah.
than in a direct message where you can be like, listen, like I can't find this kind of stuff out
Yeah.
there.
I mean,
Uh,
one thing that's really common just among OnlyFans is selling of the underpants, the
mhm.
dirty underpants.
You get that request often?
Yeah, yeah, and I'm like all about it. Like I just buy the big pack of underpants on Amazon.
You're all over the news. your face, your body, your situation. Have you heard from OnlyFans? Like, have they contacted you? Because it's advertising for them as well.
No, in fact, I sent them an email, and I said like, "Hey, this is me," and they were like, "Okay, do you have any technical difficulties that we could help you with?" And I was like, "No,
Oh,
I was just telling you, like maybe I could get a T-shirt or something." And they were like, "No, just let us know if you need any
yeah.
help with your account."
Oh, okay. So it's just, yeah. It just seems like it could have been an opportunity for them to step up and support you as well publicly.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I feel they're a multi-billion-dollar
yeah,
uh platform, I'm sure.
yeah.
You
They
know,
got
and
bigger fish
I
to
mean
fry.
this kind of story is not, I mean, it's not super common, but it's I'm not the first, right? There have been plenty of people that have been fired for their OnlyFans page.
Yeah. It's just very few have been as public as you and
True,
as high
true.
profile as your
Well, and
story.
I think that has to do with, you know, I think a lot of people are still ashamed of it, you know.
Mhm,
And I have friends who, you know, they have an OnlyFans and they don't tell anybody about it and they keep it hush hush,
mhm,
which, you know, to each their own. But, you know, my hope and my strive after being so public about this is like, what's the shame in it? Like, you
mhm.
know, we are all sexual beings and pornography has been around forever. And you know, I think the platform OnlyFans has really brought more dignity and respect to the sex trade itself.
Mhm.
Um, and so just, you know, informing people about it, and then it's like, you know, they can make their own decisions from there.
Mhm. What I want to end with is I want to hear about what's next for you and what your plans are in the future. But I'd also like to hear of any opportunities. Like this certainly must have opened some doors for you in kind of the sex industry, I guess you would put it.
Yeah,
Like
it
like
has.
what? Tell me about that. What has it done
um
for you?
well, I since this all went down, I've had the opportunity to shoot with some really great photographers. I'm hoping that maybe Playboy, hey Playboy, if you're listening,
I'm sure they
um,
listen. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm hoping maybe, you know, maybe they'll pick it up or whatever. But yeah, I've shot with some cool photographers. I'm actually doing like a model retreat in September, which includes like 4 photographers and get lots of exposure that way. So, um, yeah, doing
So
that.
so as far as what comes next, you're hoping to make a go at this then. Like you're not
Yeah,
slowing down.
no, no, I'm not. Um, I'm not.
Is it liberating to have the baggage of your day job gone now and you're like I'm just gonna like I'm going for it now? Like how does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I think for me it was really liberating to just come out with it initially. Because I'm not a secretive person, you know, that's not
Mhm,
me. And I feeling like I was, you know, living 2 separate lives was a little challenging for me. But I appreciate, you know, being out in the open and talking about it and just, yeah, you know, having kind of Ava James and Kristin MacDonald be more blended is has been liberating in itself.
mhm. Uh, for people, like there will be people listening who the idea of an OnlyFans account is kind of new to them and maybe still a little taboo, but it's so common now. I see so many people who are talking about having their OnlyFans
Mhm.
or kind of like celebrities that are kind of dabbling in it.
Yeah.
Give us a sense of like how popular this is getting for people to offer. I don't know if you'd say like premium kind of
Yeah, or
content or whatever.
exclusive content, I think is the
Yeah,
term
that's the
that's
way
being
to put
used
it.
pretty widely.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I
How
mean
big is this?
it's huge. It's huge. And it's crazy when you actually kind of dive a bit deeper into, you know, the amount of money you can make. You know, there really is a market for this, and there are women that are doing extremely well at it. And um, yeah,
It's
it's just becoming
it's
bigger and bigger, I feel.
yeah, it's so big that like the porn industry is massive and huge and has
Yeah.
been forever, but the amount of people going to OnlyFans and doing the kind of work that you're doing has completely turned the industry on its own head.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just, unless you're in that world, you probably don't know or realize,
totally.
right?
And I think one of the points I haven't brought up yet is, with OnlyFans, it's like you get more of a, for lack of a better word, like a home style feel. Like,
Mhm.
it's like it's not this highly produced porn that you're seeing with lighting and a storyline and all this kind of thing. Like it's more natural, it's more realistic.
Mhm.
It's not the, yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's a different style, and
Mhm.
with that you're getting a connect, like a human connection, right?
Yeah, I can kind of see a bit of similarity in the world of podcasting, in fact. Like, because if
Yeah,
someone will listen to me and they can also, like, they can write me on Twitter or send me an email
yeah,
and get a response, ask a
exactly.
question and I'll respond on
Hmm.
air. But then you compare that with, say, like a true crime documentary on Netflix. You can't
Hmm.
interact. It's already published. If you even wanted to reach the people in it, you would have to go through managers and all this stuff. So
Yeah,
I think people go to podcasting because the hosts and the content is so home cooked,
yeah,
and I
it's
think like
relatable, right?
OnlyFans is kind of like the sex work version of what I do on podcasting in a lot
Yeah,
of
no, I
ways.
agree. I agree
Mhm.
for sure.
For people who want to find you and see what you do and interact
Mhm.
with you and maybe get you to judge their private parts, how do they find you? So I'm sure there's
Well, you
someone
can find,
listening who does.
of
There's
course,
probably
no,
there's
of
someone who's
course.
listening who's like, "Oh my God, I thought I was the only one who was into that." It's a thing and I'm
It's a thing.
comfortable now.
It's a thing. Yeah, no, find me on Instagram, link in my bio. Ava James, A_V_A_James 88 is my Instagram.
And I'll
Oh,
have a link to
and
it in the
sorry,
episode.
exciting. I'm actually in the process of developing a website. So that will be
Oh,
missavajames.com.
okay. Congratulations. That's a big step because you're no longer in the shadows,
No,
sneaking around at night.
no, I am not.
Thank you for opening up again. This has been it's a fascinating story because it's so new, so modern, so interesting. And I think it's one that's probably going to pop up a lot more for a lot of other people. So it is precedent setting. I
I hope so.
appreciate you being so open and giving us a first inside look at this whole mess.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me and giving me a voice.
I want to thank you for joining Kristin and I for this discussion. Now, I'm going to wrap things up here, but before I do, I want to give some thanks. First, a big thanks to Kristin for sharing another evening with me and with you, the listeners of Nighttime. A big shout out to LJ from the Dystopian Simulation podcast, who provides the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data, who provides the music. And lastly, but most importantly, a massive thanks goes out to each and every one of you listening to Nighttime, as without your interest and your support, this show would be as pointless as it would be impossible. Now, since I'm on the topic of support, let me specifically thank the newest subscribers of the premium feed. Julie, June, and Mark, thank you for your generous support. And for anyone else who'd like to support the show, you can help me in a variety of ways. First of all, a premium feed subscription costs only a couple dollars a month and both funds the creation of the show while giving you the episodes 2 days early, ad-free, and giving you access to a full back catalog of episodes. If that sounds good, you can go premium at patreon.com/nighttimepodcast. And if you don't want to go premium, you can still help the show by sharing this episode on social media and letting all your like-minded friends know what we're doing here. If you have any story ideas or if you want to give feedback on the show or give an opinion on today's topic, you can submit a question or comment to be aired and responded to in an upcoming episode at nighttimepodcast.com/contact. I hope to hear from you. But until then, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and let me know if you see anything weird.
The Nighttime Podcast is written, hosted, and produced by Jordan Bonaparte.